Hello, hello, pottery lovers. Today we are going to be doing a video all about how I'm learning to use my new pottery wheel. So for Christmas, my lovely family all put together and bought me this Viva pottery wheel. It is a 10-inch pottery wheel, which they did get me, and I just love it. I'm having so much fun, and we all need a hobby, so this is going to be just so much fun for me. Now, it's not my first time to pottery. So over 30 years ago, when my oldest daughter was born, I actually did do ceramic classes and slip casting and things like that for about 3 years. I think I did classes for a really long time. And I always wanted to do the pottery wheel. And I do remember having one or two goes at it, but nothing really major. It was just, I think they let us go on it for 10 minutes to have a feel of the wheel. But anyway, I never did much more with it because life got in the way and I had babies. But now what we're doing is playing around with our new pottery wheel. So on here, I'm quite new to using this wheel, and I am actually enjoying it. But, it takes so much time. So if you're like me and you're new on the wheel, the one thing that I will definitely say is I think, there's different ways to hold your hands, and there's different ways to do things on it. I've watched thousands of hours, I think, honestly, seriously, I think I have. I've watched so many hours of people on the pottery wheel, like all different other pottery makers on YouTube. And I've noticed that lots of them hold their hands differently. Some of them open the center of, their pottery piece with their thumbs. Some use one thumb, one finger. Some use two fingers. Some just make one hole and then push the hole to the side. So I've noticed that there's definitely lots of ways. So for me, I think I just have to find the way that is most comfortable for me. And I think one part of this whole part, to be honest, is making mistakes. It's normal to make mistakes, and I think, we learn from mistakes, don't we? So the one thing I noticed at the start, and you can see this in here, and I've left the mistakes that I've made in here so that you can see, I noticed that what I was doing is I wasn't really centering it enough. And then when I did center the pottery wheel, I won't say the pottery wheel, when I did center the clay in the middle of the wheel, what I was doing then is I was kind of letting go too fast. And then, of course, that put that off center. So then it all ended up a bit disastrous. And then, I was back to the start. So I think I've probably tried to throw pottery pieces maybe 40 times so far since I've got this wheel in the last couple of weeks. And each time that I've done it, I do find that I am getting better. And, I've now got to the stage where I feel like some of the pieces are worthy enough to fire. But what I was doing at the start is I thought, look, doesn't matter if I'm not going to use this clay in the end. I'll just, let it dry out a little bit, and then I'll try again on the wheel, just for practice to see how I'm going to more center it than anything. Anyway, but it has been a fun ride. So before I actually started doing this, like I said, I did do slip casting for a while, and I have a number of slip casting molds. So I do actually do lots of those. So I will have a few videos of that. I will pop them on here as well. And for those of you that don't know me, I am actually a professional soap and candle maker. I do actually earn a living out of doing that. And I do have another YouTube channel, which is Nelson Interior Soapery. But I thought it would be best to separate the two, to have pottery on one and the soap and candles on the other, just to keep it nice and neat. And then also I've started opening up an Instagram account just for my ceramics and pottery, which at this stage it's more of a hobby, but maybe if I get super good, I will actually introduce some of the pieces that I'm putting on the wheel into my business, because I do have a little shop out in the southeast of Melbourne. So and the shop is actually on my property, which is super handy, and I just really have people click and collect and things like that. So But anyway, that's a little bit about me because, like I said, this is the first video. But now let's get into the pottery. Let's see how I'm going at centering with this. Now, I am actually using a white clay, so it is a mid-fire clay that I've been using, and I have actually done a number of pieces that I've done the hand building pieces. So, and I've been getting this clay from a company called Walker's in Australia, in Victoria. So I think they're in Baronia or Bayswater in Victoria. So it's just a white clay. It's quite a smooth clay, and they've told me it's quite plastic and quite good to use. And these are all the terms I'm sort of still getting used to with the clay side of it. Like, it's kind of like a new language, I feel. But anyway, it has been super duper good, and I'm really like, enjoying it. And I've got to find a better place to put this, because at the moment this is in my spare room. Most of my children have left home. I just got a couple at home now, and the back room that I have is just kind of like a spare room that holds all of my extra bits for my soap and candle business. So I've kind of put this in the middle. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing for now. And I have actually had a number of pieces fired, because I have actually, like I said, done hand building and things like that, and slip casting. And I'm actually renting a space at somebody else's shop. And when I say rent a space, that means for firing all of my products. So if you don't have a kiln, you can still get around that by actually just renting a space. And your local ceramic store, they actually can sort of advise people that have a rental space, in their kiln. So for me, I have to travel an hour and a half to get to there, but in time I'm actually looking at buying a kiln. So yeah, so anyway, I do have my eyes on one, but there is none going to be in Australia until at least March this year, so a few months away. And hopefully then I can get my hands on a very tiny little Scott computerized, kiln. So that will be super, super exciting. So now you can see that I'm having another go here at centering something and just, making it look beautiful. And as you can tell, it is a white clay, like I did say. And at the start, I noticed that I was holding my hands wrong. And it does feel a little unnatural to kind of hold your hands together and almost like butterfly your hands together. But I know it's all a part of this pottery journey. So I'm in for the road. I really am. And yeah, so like I said, I'm learning so much. And there's a number of pottery people that I really do love watching. Florian is one. Of course, everyone knows him. He seems to be, the king of pottery. And one of the ladies I really, really love is Sarah Walton. She's very, very good. I've been watching her. And, she's kind of got all my vibe, that pink vibe. I just love it. My soap and candle business is all pink. So I kind of really, really do get that sort of vibe. But anyway, like I said, so we're just going to do a bit of practice. And you can see here, I'm literally just opening up the center. And one thing I noticed at the start, what I was doing is, instead of just using my thumbs, what I was doing is holding one hand, and it was kind of like almost wobbling there. It had nothing, no structure to hold it together. And that's one thing I've definitely noticed that I was doing wrong. And then, of course, your pottery is not going to stay centered. The clay just moves because your hands are what are really keeping it tight, to make the shape. Not that I'm an expert at all, but that's the one thing that I've definitely learnt for myself, that, my hands weren't tucked in, my arms weren't tucked in enough. And, like I said, my hands were just sort of floating there, which didn't really give the pottery or the clay, a good structure, really. So that's the one thing I've noticed. And, I think you just have to make dozens and dozens and dozens of fails before you come and get one that is super good. So in this video, I think I've actually made 3. So I did do 3. and the first two are no good, but the third one I was happy with. And now if you can see the wheel here, can you see how this is now starting to wobble? And that's the one thing I noticed is obviously, I've moved something or done something wrong. And because I don't really have the skills to be able to bring it back from here, that made it a little bit difficult. That's, the one thing I definitely noticed. And I think that's a part of learning, realizing where you've gone wrong and then going, okay, next time maybe we will adjust it and we'll kind of do something else. Yeah, so that is definitely one thing 100% that I have noticed that, I was definitely doing wrong. And I think that I failed on this one. I can't remember, but the last one that I did, I'm actually quite happy with that because I feel like I was learning to pull the walls up better. And I actually feel that that's something that doesn't come natural to me, pulling the walls up of the pottery. And I notice when I watch, professionals, that it's 5 seconds and they seem to have the pottery walls up and it's looking beautiful. And mine just looks like disaster. And I thought, wow, how are they even doing that? And I think, honestly, I was being a little bit too gentle when I was pulling up the walls rather than pushing the clay and then pushing it back with, one hand on the inside and one on the outside. So that's one thing that I've definitely noticed that I've done wrong. And another thing too, I'm using a hobbyist pottery wheel. I'm not using a $2,000 pottery wheel or $1,500 one, which obviously, the best, that you buy and everything is usually better. But I'm really happy with my little wheel. I do really love it, and it's fine for me to practice and have fun, because I do need to have some things away from my standard business practice that I usually do with my soap and candles. So yes, you can see this one's a disaster. We're going to scrape this one off and we will get going, and we're going to actually do the last one. And I hope that you watching me, you can kind of maybe get some tips from the mistakes I've made. And, if I can give anyone any encouragement, it's like just keep trying no matter what you do. And when I actually started my soap and candle business, everyone told me, look, you're never going to succeed. No, there's too many people in this industry. And now I earn a full-time wage out of that. So I think with everything, you just got to keep going, don't you? So now here I am actually showing you one of the other pots that I did, and I was proud of this one. It worked. And as I said, I have done many different pots and containers just to practice with. And I thought even if they don't look beautiful and I'm not going to sell them or anything, they'll be good to practice with the glazes to see what I've thought with the glazes. So yeah, and I'm really excited to use some new ones. I have actually already started with some other glazes which I was using for my other products, and they were from Walker's. So I've really just got the Walker's glaze, and I do understand glaze a bit more, like I said, because I did do ceramics for a long time. So I'm actually using the technique of getting the powders and then the water and mixing them together so that I can really do just the dipping. And I am actually going to order some other glazes that are beautiful, and I have a really nice effect to go around the outside of things. But for now, I think this is what I'm going to try and just do some fun things and just have a little bit of fun with the pottery that I'm making. Now you can see the one I'm holding, I've done like a fluted edge. Honestly, I made a mistake, and it looked terrible, and I thought, oh look, let's just do this fluted edge. But I ended up scrapping that one later on. I didn't end up keeping it because I thought, oh, I just really don't love it, and I don't want to pay to get this fired, and then I've got something that I really don't like, and what am I meant to do with it? And it's the old story, isn't it? You've got to have waste in something. So now we've obviously sped this up super fast, and this one here is the last one that I'm making. This is the one that does succeed, and I was getting, honestly, so frustrated by this time, and I thought, I'm going to cry because this is not working. And anyway, my husband said, oh, you just got to learn. And I'm one of these people that I want to know how to do it straight away. The process of waiting is not my jam. But, I just have to be a little bit patient, don't I? And but like I said, I did think, oh, look, I'm just going to go back again and try again. And I thought, look, the bag of pottery is only like of clay, sorry, it's maybe, I think it's about $23 or $24 for like 5 or 10 kilos. I can't remember, but anyway, it's not expensive. It's pretty cheap. So my way of thinking of it is, if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. It's not like I'm wasting $100 or anything. I'm wasting a lot less. So yeah, and oh, actually, one thing where my other business comes in super handy is because I actually make lotions and things like that. I'm able to do that because doing pottery, your hands get really dry with the clay and the water. So that's one thing I did see early on. Someone said, you need to always have moisturizer and keep moisturizing your hands, or they'll just dry out and your skin will be cracked and horrible. So yeah, so I did think that's true, and I've been really trying to, to make sure that I'm doing that so that my hands don't get a bit sore. Now here I'm actually pulling up the walls of this beautiful little pot that I've made, which I'm so proud of. I know that sounds silly, but I really am, because it took me a while, and I was just like, oh, I was just, like I said, getting so frustrated. But then I really do feel that I managed to pull up the walls on this one. And to me, that was like such a win-win. I was like, wow, finally I can do this. The walls are looking good. And yeah, it just really was looking, amazing. So like I said, I was so happy. And then also, after doing this, I watched more videos again, more dozens and dozens of hours, and then I had to go at also trimming the pot, and that was much harder than I thought. I thought it was going to be super easy, although trimming is much easier than throwing on the wheel, definitely. But the one thing I think there are some tools that are really handy to have, like the centering tool to trim. 100% I'm going to buy one of those, because trying to get the pot exactly in the middle was a real headache for me, to make that circle perfect on the foot of the bowl. So that is definitely one thing that I thought, look, I'm going to spend some money on getting some better tools. So here you can see I have almost finished making this bowl, and it's almost the end of this video. So I hope you love it. Make sure you subscribe to my gorgeous, sweet little pottery channel, and hopefully we can be friends and create a beautiful community of, just some hobbyists, some creative people over here. And of course, I'm an open book. I'm more than happy to sort of talk about pottery or something like that. If anyone has any questions on, my journey with ceramics or pottery so far, and we can go from there. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.